Okay, so prayer. I'm going to talk about prayer in a number of different lights. One is from the level of, well, why on earth would you pray if you're in the non-dual field, if there is no you? And if there's no you, then how can you? Well, I mean, why on earth would there be a prayer for another? Well, that's one question. Like you can be in the non-dual field and prayers can still happen. It's just that the ego is not praying, and that can be part of a devotion, you see. So just like one can be out of thoughts and out of ego mind, and yet the kettle can be boiled. The kettle can, it was not like your ego's thinking, okay, let's walk to the kettle and let me think about how much water I'm going to put in the glass, and I need to track this and think about this and develop a good plan and make. No, I mean it happens out of nothing. It's the infinite. The infinite. The ego wasn't is often not there at all. Trying to sort of make a commentary and trying to pretend it's like it has any power. So something prayer is very devotional. It can come out of the infinite field and has great power when it's coming out of the infinite. So the level of so it's a bit like this. A prayer from someone at the level of the non-dual field, like Mother Teresa or Gandhi or Jesus Christ, a prayer from someone like that in the non-dual field would have so much power if it went anywhere that it would probably, I mean, would create a miracle. Hence, I mean, Hawkins said that the miracles with Jesus Christ were all true. The dead walk, the blind see. So just a thought or a glance from someone at the level of the non-dual makes perfect sense to me because you no longer believe in limitation. You know the infinite is the truth. And if the other gets a glimpse that the infinite is their truth, and then they let go of their beliefs, I mean, you could probably go from blindness to instant sight, from the brink of death to life. So the power of someone in the non-dual field looking at you, that's the thing of like I think, as I understand it, I could be wrong, I'm not an expert. Mother Teresa, someone came with cancer and visited Mother Teresa, and then afterwards the X-rays done and the cancer disappeared, and the Catholic Church recognized, oh, well, Mother Teresa must be a saint. So a prayer or just a glance or just being in the presence of someone in the non-dual field has great power. And that's the story of Dr. Hugh Len. He talks about clearing the data. So he's a mystic. I mean, I'm sure he's right up there, very, very enlightened, taking on, service essentially to clear the limitation, the thoughts and the ideas that create suffering in the collective ego. So a whole prison full of violent criminals, without visiting them, he forgave them. He just cleared the data. They haven't done anything wrong. They're sinless. There's nothing happened. They didn't do anything. Their suffering that is not real. He just cleared the data in his consciousness. Could say prayed for them, and everyone in that prison got well, and they closed the prison down. So this is the power of prayer. When it's a mystic, there's not even a person praying. It's more like out of the infinite comes grace. It may come through words and prayers, or just glances, or just presence. But so there is a real power. So the level of effectiveness of prayer, of course, is directly correlated to the level of consciousness of the individual. So someone who's drinking a ton of alcohol has got billions of resentments and does a prayer for you, probably doesn't is not going to do much for them or anyone else because they're so blocked off that the prayer probably has very little use. They might have to pray for several months for anything to happen. Someone who's done a lot of spiritual work might just do a few prayers for half an hour and the resentment will just disappear, never to come back again. And then the idea that there is a person praying for someone else is starting to disappear, which is also the idea of the Course in Miracles, which is so beautifully said. The prayer. I mean, I often share like the prayers in the beginning of the Course in Miracles, the lessons. My teacher just recommended to do the lessons, not read the text. But just doing the lessons in the beginning, it says like, "Oh, God is a loving which I forgive." So it assumes that you think you're a you, and you're identifying with your thoughts and body as a me. So it says, "Okay, God is a loving which I forgive this politician." Okay, God is love. So there's a me asking for God's love to forgive that politician over there. But later on in the Course of Miracles, after you've gone through enough lessons, it says you should now start to experience that there's nothing to forgive. There's no you and there's no them. And that's your experience. So there is nothing to forgive, and you don't see anything that needs forgiving. Because you can only forgive someone if there is a me and there is a you. But it doesn't mean that prayers can't happen to alleviate other people stuck in duality, and they can come from a non-dual place. So everything depends on your level of consciousness in relation to prayer. And at a certain level, you may not pray or you may pray. Some of these tendencies of what happens as you go more into the non-dual field are just remnants of the pathway you've chosen. So if you've chosen the pathway of a Christian saint, like the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. I mean, you can see that's the prayer of a mystic in the oneness. In dying, I'm born to eternal life. His ego's dead. He's now living in the eternal, non-stop. And he says in his prayer, he's an instrument of peace. He's not an instrument of thinking, instrument of the infinite peace to all who are around him. So it's obvious that's not really a prayer. I mean, those are the utterings of a mystic. So you see, but even if St. Francis was able, I'm sure who's going around, I think, hugging lepers, and seeing their divine beauty. And he wasn't getting infected or anything. So he was immune. He was immune to all the limiting ideas. There was just infinite presence and infinite love. I'm sure, I mean, the miracles must have happened non-stop around him. Of an order of magnitude, the level of miracle is in direct relation to how in the infinite field you are, to what level. I mean, if you're stuck in your thoughts and your body, you're not that connected to the infinite field. And if you the ego's dead, then you are one with the infinite field. So talking about prayer, there was something else. Yes. Now India, who've been having mystics and enlightened people for quite a long time. I mean, they've got huge amounts of literature, and as Hawkins described in his muscle testing research, the siddhis, which are the mystical things that Indians have known for thousands of years, occur at calibration, at the calibration just below enlightenment. The ecstasy is usually where the spiritual teachers become famous. That's where you might get bilocation, being able to levitate, instant miracles, and it's kind of obvious. If you don't believe in things like gravity and not being you go into the infinite field, all possibilities, once you're no longer localized to being identified with a localized thing, the incredible miracles and the amount of power there, all kinds of phenomenal miracles. And the Indians have known that for thousands of years and know what stage of enlightenment you're at. They actually have a vocabulary for that. But just like the Christians do, we talk about the seven deadly sins. The Indians may talk about the vasanas, and Christ talked about temptations by Lucifer. Buddha talked about being beset by demons. So there's all kinds of things um, that there are as you sort of progress. Yes, so actually the question was on prayer. So also the type of prayer and has different levels of vibration, and obviously prayers which are just selfish and self-centered probably have very little power. Like, dear God, can I have win the lottery and please tell me what the numbers are so I can just buy a lot of vodka today? May have a lot, lot less power than, help me to be a channel of your peace for today. Well, I'll stop there.